Hi friends, welcome to Top Winner Academy. Today we will be dealing with current affairs of 23rd October 2020. Right. So shall we move? First one, soil transmitted helminthiasis. So what is it? Why in news? See, Health Ministry has said that 14 states have reported reduction in prevalence of parasitic intestinal worm infection, also known as soil transmitted helminthiasis. Right. So it have detrimental effect on children's physical growth and well-being and can cause anemia and undernutrition. Since its launch in 2015, the National Deworming Day, a flagship program of the Ministry of the Health, is run on a biannual single-day program implemented through the platform of school and Anganwadis. Under the program, albendazole tablet approved by the World Health Organization is used for the treatment of intestinal worms in children and adolescents as a part of the Mass Drug Administration program globally. Okay, so albendazole will be given as a mass drug administration program globally. And what is that? See, soil transmitted helminths refers to intestinal worms. Okay, which is intestine infecting humans that are transmitted through contaminated soil. Okay, that in the through the contaminated soil it will go to the intestines. A large part of the world's population is infected one or more of these soil transmitted helminths. So these are ascaris, then whipworm and hookworm. These are the three types. Okay, these are approximately this amount is affected. Thus important this ascaris, whipworm, hookworm. Okay, then soil transmitted helminth infection is found mainly in areas with warm and moist climates where sanitation and hygiene are poor, including temperate zones during warmer months. Right, if sanitation hygiene is poor, so the chance of affecting this transmitted helminthiasis is very high. Then mobile application for geotagging in PMKSY. Okay, Prime Minister's Krishi Sinjai Yojana. Right, it's launched by Jal Shakti for geotagging of components of projects under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinjai Yojana or Prime Minister Krishi Sinjai Yojana. Okay, who's developed it? Say developed by Bhaskaracharya National Institute of Space Applications and Geoinformatics. Right. So objectives, what are the objectives of it? See, it is to track the pace, the pace of work and the actual status of the project. That is the objective. See, the mobile application can be used to capture the image of the project component along with other capitals such as location, say type of canal, structure of the canal, completion of the status, etc. See how much work it is done. That is that can be done with this particular application. Okay, operation. The mobile application can be operated both online and offline mode depending on the network availability. Then what is about Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinjai Yojana? It's a centrally sponsored scheme. First of all, when it is launched in 2015, it is launched. What was the motto? Har khet ko pani. Okay, so water for all agricultural land. That means har khet ko pani. So Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinjai Yojana, it is being implemented to expand cultivated area with assured irrigation, reduced wastage of water and improve water use efficiency. That is per drop more crop. Right. So to expand the cultivated area, that is the main motto. It also focuses on creating protective irrigation and by harnessing rainwater at micro level through Jal Sanchay and Jal Sinchan. The future of job report 2020. Next one. So Third one, see, it released by Switzerland-based World Economic Forum. This is very important. Future Jobs Report, who releases World Economic Forum. According to World Economic Forum 2020 report, the pandemic and its impacts will disrupt more than 8 million. That means 8.5 crore jobs by 2025. Right. So redundancy in workforce will decrease from 15.4% to 9%. Right. The pandemic economic crisis has accelerated the disruption of jobs. Around 43% of the businesses globally have reduced their workforce due to integration of technology. Right. So as pandemic comes, their integration technology has increased. Right. Around 43% of the business, they have reduced their workforce because they increased their technology. Around 41% of the business globally are using contractors for task specialized work. Then around 31% of the business globally are planning to expand their workforce due to integration of technology. Then the world around 50% require reskilling in order to secure the job in the coming 5 years. So they need reskilling to secure their jobs. This is the report. Okay, then suggestions also have. See, Future Jobs Report 2020 says that the government should provide access to social safety nets to the displaced workers and improve their education, offer incentive to businesses to invest in jobs of future. Then World Economic Forum 2020 report says that the private sector should increase training programs and ensure that the workers are not left behind. Right. So training programs should be increased by the private sectors, and private government sector was to do, they should give education and offer incentives to the business to invest in jobs for the future. This is a suggestion. Then Blue Dot Network. What is Blue Dot Network and why it is in news? A group of US senators in a letter has asked India to join Blue Dot Network. Right. So the letter also backed India's decision to invite Australia to the annual Malabar Express. On the basis of this, India India invite Australia to annual Malabar Network. We have discussed Malabar Naval Exercise in the previous classes. See, what is Blue Dot Network? It is meant to be a multi-stakeholder initiative that aims to bring governments, the private sector and civil society together to promote high quality trusted standards for global infrastructure development. Okay, so it's a multi-stakeholder initiative. That's more important. So what is bring governments, private sector and civil society together to promote high quality trusted standards for infrastructure development. So Blue Dot Network was formally announced on 4 November 2019 at Indo-Pacific Business Forum at Bangkok, Thailand. It is led by Australia with Japan and led by USA with Japan and Australia. Right. So it's a multi-stakeholder initiative. So already told to bring together governments, private sector and civil society to promote high quality trusted standards for global infrastructure development. It is expected to serve as a globally recognized evaluation and certification system for roads, ports and bridges with focus on Indo-Pacific region. Okay, so there will be a certification system. Okay, globally accepted certification system for roads, ports and bridges with focus on India-Pacific region. Okay, infrastructure projects would be graded on depth, environmental standards, labor standards, etc. Okay, infrastructure projects will be graded. So this system will apply to projects in any citizen-centric country where citizens would like to evaluate such projects. It is planned as a direct counter to China's Belt Road Initiative. Okay, so unlike the BRI, the BDN would not offer public funds or loans to the project. See, China offered public funds and loans to the project, but here BDN, Blue Dot Network, never offer any loans to the project. So it's a point, right? So Blue Dot certification. What is Blue Dot certification? BDN will serve as a globally recognized seal for approval for major infrastructure projects, letting people know that projects are sustainable and not exploitative. Okay, projects are sustainable and not exploitative, right? So moving forward, State of Global Air 2020. So it is released by Health Effects Institute. Health Effects Institute is an independent non-profit research institute funded jointly by United States Environmental Protection Agency and others. See, it highlights that air pollution is the largest risk factor for death among the all health risk. Okay, environmental pollution. So it is a risk factor among all health risk. India, Bangladesh and Pakistan and Nepal are among the top 10 countries with highest particulate matter 2.5 exposure in 2019. So India, Bangladesh, Pakistan and Nepal. India is also among the top 10 countries with highest ozone exposure in 2019. So this is a report. Then among the 20 most populous countries, India recorded the highest increase. That means 17% increase in ozone concentration in the past 10 years. And then long-term exposure to outdoor and household air pollution contributed to over 1.67 million annual deaths from stroke, heart attack, diabetes, lung cancer, chronic lung diseases and neonatal diseases in India in 2019. Okay, this high PM particulate matter contributed to the deaths of more than 1,16,000 Indian infants who do not survive their first month. So they will die within 1 month. 1,16,000 infant. Right. So that is a report. Next is OSIRIS-REx mission. What is OSIRIS-REx mission? So why in news? NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft briefly touched down on the surface of asteroid Bennu to collect rock and dust samples. Right. So this was the news. What is OSIRIS-REx mission? The United States' first asteroid sample return mission, aiming to collect and carry a pristine, unaltered sample from an asteroid back to Earth for scientific study. Okay, so they will be collecting a sample from an asteroid called Bennu. That is the OSIRIS-REx mission. See, OSIRIS-REx origins, spectral interpretation, resource identification, security, regolith explorer. That is OSIRIS-REx. Okay, spacecraft was launched in 2016 for the journey to Bennu. Right. So the mission is essentially a 7-year-long voyage and will conclude when at least 60 grams of samples are delivered back to the Earth, nearly in 2023. See some word about asteroid Bennu. Bennu is an ancient asteroid currently more than 2 million miles from Earth. See, Bennu offers scientists a window to the early solar system as it was first taking shape billions of years ago and tossing ingredients that could have helped seeds of life on Earth. Right. So there can be ingredients that could have helped seed of life of Earth. Okay. So that's why scientists are studying about Bennu. Then UAPA, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. UAPA. Why in news first of all? Recently, many activists, journalists and students have been booked or jailed under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act UAPA in different cases across the country. So we will discuss what it is. See, UAPA was passed in 1967. It aims at effective prevention of unlawful activities associations in India. So unlawful activities mean what? So it is any action taken by an individual or association intended to disrupt the territorial integrity and sovereignty of India. So whatever you are doing or any person is doing, okay, if it disrupts the territorial integrity of India and sovereignty of India, that can be an unlawful activity. So you can be punished. You can be punished under this UAPA. Okay. So the act assigns absolute power to the central government by way of which central deems to an activity as unlawful, then it may be by way of an official gazette declares so. So if center seems an activity is unlawful, so they can make it, the central government by gazette make it an unlawful activity and make necessary action on that. Okay, the penalty can be death penalty and life, maybe on life imprisonment. These are the highest penalties. Under UAPA, both Indian and foreign nationals can be charged. Not only Indian but foreign nationals can be charged. It will be applicable to offenders in the same manner even if the crime is committed on foreign land outside India. So suppose a person is committed a crime on the foreign land, suppose anywhere outside India, so he can also be charged. That is it. So under UAPA, the investigation agency can file charge sheet maximum 180 days after the arrest, and duration can be extended further after intimating the court. Okay, so a person is arrested, that agency can be submit the charge sheet after 180 days, right? So 180 days the person can be put behind the bars, right? That's the issue. Then 2019 amendment was there. The act empowers the Director General of National Investigation Agency to grant approval to seizure or attachment of property when the case is investigated by the said agency. So if the case is investigated by NIA, the Director General of NIA can seizure or attach the property of that particular person. The act imposes the officers of NIA the rank of inspector or above to investigate cases of terrorism in addition to those conducted by the DSP or ACP or above rank officer in the state. So that is the 2019 amendment. Then COVIRAP. What is COVIRAP? See, COVIRAP is a cuboid shaped portable testing device. It is a portable one testing device that can deliver result in an hour, making it an effective tool to scale up COVID-19 screening peripheral and rural areas. It costs about 500 rupees, right? So it can be screening in peripheral and rural areas. It can be used for screening test, right? So how it works? It works, the DNA of the virus is mixed with the chemicals on a paper strip, right? The reaction determines if the sample is positive or negative, right? The result on the strip can be read using a mobile app also developed by the team. The machine has the capability to test between 3 and 10 samples in one go, which means that the kit can be used for pool testing as well. Okay, that's COVIRAP. So it's a portable and used by unskilled persons too. So it was developed by IIT Gorakhpur team. Okay, IIT Gorakhpur team, right? So next is election expenditure limit. Why in news? See, Election Commission of India on Wednesday constituted a committee to examine the issues concerning the expenditure limit. See, under Rule 90 of the Conduct of Election Rules 1961, a candidate contesting Lok Sabha polls can spend up to 60 lakhs and up to 20 lakhs in the assembly election. So Lok Sabha polls, a candidate can spend up to 70 lakhs. Okay. And a Lok Sabha and in assembly they can spend up to 28 lakhs. That is it. Right. Under the section 77 of Representation of People Act 1951, every candidate shall keep a separate and correct account of all expenditure. Right. All expenditure, there should be a separate and correct account incurred between the date on which he has been nominated and the date of declaration of the result. So all candidates are required to submit their expenditure statement to the Election Commission of India within 30 days of the completion of the election. Within 30 days, they should submit all the expenditure to Election Commission of India. An incorrect account or expenditure beyond the cap can lead to disqualification of the candidate by Election Commission up to 3 years under Section 10A of the Representation of People Act 1951. Okay. It can be noted that there is no cap on a political party's expenditure. Very important, there is no cap on a political party's expenditure. However, all registered parties, all political parties have to submit a statement of their election expenditure to the Election Commission within 90 days of the completion of the elections. Okay. So that's about. Bye. Take care.